Monson County 911, what's the emergency?
I just killed my mom and my sister.
What?
I just killed my mom and my sister.
Why?
Obviously, I'm pretty, evil.
Right before midnight, that's when he went in his room and his closet and got the gun and the bullet. And he went upstairs and he knocked on Mallory's door. And that's when he shot her and she fell down the stairs. And then he ran into the study and Mom confronted him at the door and then he shot her. He then realized Mallory was still alive.
Once he realized she was still alive, what did he do?
It's just hard for me to go there. It's just that she suffered. And it just upsets me that in that moment when he realized that Mallory was still alive, why didn't he let her run out that front door or call 911? I want y'all to ask Jake if that was ever a thought in his head, in that moment. And I want to know why he feels like he's an evil person and why this did happen.
There are times, mainly when I'm alone with all the time to think, that there is this real dark, narcissistic entity that doesn't care about anything. I did have something in the back of my mind that I needed to just commit this evil act, just this desire for infamy. I made a decision that I wanted to be known for something bad and evil.
Aww. This is a picture of me and my mom, Mallory, and Jake. And I just love this picture. Yeah. Our mom and our dad gave us the best childhood. I'm so grateful for it. We grew up in the country. We'd always go swimming, go for walks in the woods. We honestly had the dream-like childhood. Jake had lots of friends. He loved being outside. He loved sports. Jake and I were always the closest. We're both introverts, so we always got each other in that kind of way. We just go outside and ride four-wheelers and just be goofy together. My mom was lovely. She just had such a heart for everybody. I think that's where my heart comes from, is her. She just loved us kids so perfectly. Mallory was definitely the funny one. She didn't have a fear in the world. She just wanted to make everybody laugh. Mallory loved that dress, just like a free bird. She was actually buried in that dress. Yeah, I can't handle it. I can't go there. When it comes to her, I can't bear it. So I just put that wall up so I can continue on living life without her. This is a picture of me and Jake, and it makes me sad because this was May of 2012, his freshman year of high school. That's when me and Jake's bond just wasn't the same, and he started isolating himself and just wanting to be alone. He seemed angry all the time. That's just when he started carrying that dark energy. I can just see, his eyes are just different to me. It just wasn't Jake. I could tell something was off. I want to know specifically, when those dark thoughts started coming in his mind. One day, Jake and I were in the kitchen, and we were making a snack, and I said something and it upset Jake, and he picked up the knife, and he went like this towards me. I was scared, just the look in his face. It was not Jake. His eyes were just blank. I could just see the anger in his eyes. It looked like he really wanted to hurt me. Jake looked evil. And it was a look I've never seen before. But then I think he saw on my face that I was scared. And he stopped himself. He snapped out of it and put the knife down. I was worried about him. But afterwards, we never talked about it. We just kind of pretended like it never happened. That's one regret that I have, is just not talking to him about it. But I didn't think he wanted to talk about it. I'm not one to push somebody. I would always be in charge of picking up Mallory and Jake from school. And one day I went and picked up Jake from school, and I think he just darted to my car. He just walked so fast, he couldn't handle whatever was going on at the time. He just couldn't handle it. And I think I did ask, what's wrong? And he was like, just go. I wasn't sure what had happened, if someone was bothering him at school, if something had happened. But he just looked humiliated and pissed off. I think he was experiencing not nice students in there. He just wanted to get the heck out of there. We were just having a conversation about our personalities, and then Mallory said something to Jake about being a loner.
I think Jake is by himself a lot.
What's that supposed to mean?
And then Jake just took it so personally, and he blew up. He was like a wild animal in a cage. He started hitting the back of Mallory's headrest, pounding over and over. And I had never seen anything like that. I was screaming at him and telling him to stop. You can't hurt her. You can't hurt her.
Jake, that's enough!
Jake kept on saying over and over again, Audrey, you think I would really hurt her? You think I would really hurt her? And yeah, I did. I really did. I think he wanted to hurt her.
Mind your own business!
Jake!
Stop!
I just remember that I really was so scared that he was gonna hurt her, because I was just always scared of something happening to her. And in that moment, I was so scared. But then Jake just all of a sudden stopped himself. We rode home in silence. He didn't want to talk about it. There's so many things that I would do differently now. If I could go back, I would have sat down with Jake outside and just asked him how he was. Because that's my biggest thing now, is just making sure someone is okay. It ended up being the worst tragedy.
I told my sister that my mom needed her, and I shot her. She rolled down the stairs, and I shot her again. And then I went down and I shot my mom about 3 or 4 times.
Are you sure they're dead?
Yes.
I remember this day too. We went and had sushi with us girls, and we got yogurt. I was 19 and she was almost 15. Mallory wasn't just my sister. She was my best friend, my person. We were so close. And I was, like I've said, so protective of her. She was my little Miss Sunshine, my baby sister. We would make funny videos together.
My favorite memory of me and Audrey is when they're in the car together and we sing and dance and stuff.
Aww, my little sisters.
We love to get in the car and drive around, and it's hard. When it comes to Mallory, I just have a wall up. I can't go there, because if I truly felt it, I think it would kill me. That's how she was my person. A huge part of me died when Mallory died. Me, Mallory, our mom, and Jake were all in the living room watching the news about a mass shooting at the theater in Colorado. It was quiet in the room, and we were just paying attention to what we were seeing on the TV. And then Jake, all of a sudden, he looked at us and he was like, "What? Y'all think I would do something like that? Y'all think I would do something like that?"
I know what you're thinking.
Nobody said anything. We were just dumbfounded. We were like, what? Like, what do you mean? That just came out of nowhere. I think Jake was paranoid in his mind. He truly thought like that's what we were thinking. Like, oh, our brother would do something like this. We're definitely like creeped out by that comment. And we talked about it with each other. And we were just like, well, you know, what is going on with Jake?
What is his problem?
Mom would just say, I have this handle. Jake is going through a lot right now. I was freaked out, but then I think I just told myself, like, you know, what Mom had been telling us, like, he's just going through a lot right now.
So you didn't think he's about to do something crazy?
No, because if I truly like thought he was going to do something, I would have never went off to college. Before I went off to college, Jake and I were talking at like the foyer, and he was like, Audrey, you have changed.
You're not the same person.
Huh?
And he was like, you're becoming like just like them. You're becoming like the rest of the family. Like, when did you change? I just said, what do you mean?
I don't understand.
And then he just walked away.
Did you give it much credence?
It bothered me. Yeah, it bothered me. My mom walked me out and I got in my car, and my teenage self, I was in such a hurry, and Mallory was up taking a shower, and I was like, oh, it's okay. I'll see her in a few weeks, you know? So I didn't say bye to her, but I like looked in my mirror and I could just see her at the front door, like waving at me. That was the last time I saw her. I woke up and I looked at my phone and I saw that I had like 15 missed calls and a few voicemails from my dad. And I listened to them and I could tell in his voice like something bad had happened. I called him, and just like the tone in his voice, I knew it was something so bad. And he was like, Audrey, I'm about to get on a plane, but I have to tell you something. And I was begging Dad. I was like, I don't want you to tell me. Like, don't tell me. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. But he said, your mother and your sister have been killed. And I just went crazy. I started screaming and yelling. I mean, I wanted out of my body. And then Dad said, there's something else I have to tell you. And he said, your brother's in custody. And for some reason in that moment, I just knew. It just clicked in my head, just like all those, signs, and like Jake acting, different. And I started screaming again, I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna kill him. Like I really wanted to. We were all sitting down, and then they brought to our attention Jake's original plan was to kill Mom and Mallory and then wait, because he knew the next day my dad and my sister and me were gonna be home, and he was gonna wait and kill us all. And just knowing that I could have lost everybody, I broke down. It terrified me. It pissed me off. It was devastating. I think I was afraid of that one. That one was a deep one for me. That was a deep one. I almost I just didn't want to go there.
When you left, what were you thinking?
Maybe deep in the back of my mind, I did wonder why this did happen.
Why did you decide to do this interview and talk to us today?
Amazingly, it has to do with the word evil. I was obviously infatuated with that word, and I still am today. I still consider myself evil.
What was that plan? Like, what did you plan to do initially that day?
Even though I didn't know how exactly I would commit the crime, I had in my mind kill all my family members and eventually possibly either go to the elementary school. The priority was committing an evil act against my family.
It was just something you felt inside. You wanted to do it that day.
Yeah. There's no logical reason. Strangely, there's no anger driving all that. It was just this desire for infamy. I guess the headlines of basically attention, and it didn't matter who it was, is just all this idea of being known for something bad and evil. Probably around 4 or 5 in the afternoon, that's when I started just walking around outside. I guess that's when the dialogue started, because I did have something in the back of my mind that I needed to just commit this evil act. I was going back and forth, convincing myself that this needed to happen, and also kind of criticizing myself for being a weakling, you know. And that went on for at least 3 hours, I would say. And then once I got in the house, I considered that time that I was like, all right, well, it's now or never, you know. I looked in the mirror and I had the gun cocked, and I was basically said, either you or her. After about just 30 seconds of, you know, staring at my reflection, walked to her door and knocked. I believe I said, say, Mal, Mom needs you for something. She walked out her door, and I was holding the gun, you know, and she saw me in the, you know, peripheral vision, and she was like, man, don't do that, Jake, you know, that's not funny. Then I pulled the trigger, and she fell down the stairs. I ran down the stairs to where she was laying, and shot her in the side of the head. After that, I just ran to where I knew my mom was, in the study. And she saw me with the gun. She asked, what's wrong? So I believe the first time I shot her, it was in the cheek area, left side of her face. And then she fell sideways against the wall. I shot her again in the side of the head. At that point, I thought it was over. That's when I started hearing Mallory, you know, screaming. I never heard a person make that kind of sound before. Even though I don't think about the incident very often, I think of her screaming, you know, quite often, because it's just something you can't really forget. She ran to my parents' bedroom, and I was following her. Blood was dripping everywhere. I don't believe the chamber was fully loaded, so when I was pulling the trigger, you know, it wasn't firing. So I was steadily clicking away as I was following her, and I was wondering, you know, why isn't it going off? She was actually heading to the front door, and that's when gun firing went off. Shot her at least 3 more times in the head. And then I believe I also went back to the study. I basically knew my mom was dead at that point, but I just wanted to make sure.
How do you feel about it now?
Empty. I have no compassion for myself. I wish I could react to it like a normal person would, or somebody with compassion and empathy. I don't know why I can recount all that and not have any emotion. You know, looking back at what I said in the 911 call, it was sort of a relief to finally let somebody know all the dark stuff that I've been planning for months.
I just killed my mom and my sister.
You just killed your mother and your sister? How did you do that?
I shot him with a .22 revolver.
Is there any reason that you were so angry at your mother and your sister?
It's weird. I wasn't even really angry with them. It just kind of happened. I've been planning on killing for a while now.
The two of them, or just anybody?
Pretty much anybody.
When Jake was arrested, like after everything happened, we all listened to the 911 call. Hearing that Mallory was like alive after she got shot, I remember just going ballistic. Just knowing that she went through that, it was the worst moment.
Audrey wants to know, one of her main questions is why you didn't just let her run out the front door. She was able to run, she was able to scream. She could have survived, right?
Right. Now looking back, thinking about the possibility of Mallory surviving, I never realized that possibility. This whole time I was thinking that there's just too much damage at that point.
I've always wondered, like, what could have happened? In my mind, like, something had to have happened for him to just change so drastically. I don't know.
So I looked in the mirror. I had the gun cocked, and I was basically said, it's, either you or her. And after about just 30 seconds of staring at my reflection, walked to her door and knocked.
Yeah, I've never heard it like that. And just like watching him, like, say it. It's just, yeah. Just like the whole, like, him going, like in the guest room or whatever room, that was. And like the whole like mirror thing. I didn't know like he had that, like that moment. Like, yeah. He's obviously dealing with like something, whether that's like, I don't know, the devil or, like a mental something going on.
And then I know she was coming down the stairs. She ran to my parents' bedroom. I was following her. So when I was pulling the trigger, it wasn't firing, and she made her way back. She was actually heading to the front door, and that's when the gunfire went off. Shot her at least 3 more times in the head.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that. Like, Jake was following her into like mom's room, and then like that whole time like trying to make the gun like that. Yeah, that hasn't been anywhere. Like the 911 call or like the confession. Yeah, it makes it way more horrifying.
When would you say the dark thoughts began?
I would say in eighth grade.
And how long were you planning to kill?
I think an event that sort of started to make me ponder on it more was the shooting that took place at the Colorado Theater. And that's also when I started, Googling teenagers who had committed heinous crimes.
So you felt an urge to commit a crime like that?
Right. But it was mainly for just that label, the headlines of basically attention. Mainly I was imagining the way people would look at me, like in chains, in a jumpsuit.
Wow, that's so crazy because when I was telling you all the story, I just told you all the story. It just blows my mind that that's the moment where he started like having those thoughts, you know? I see that he had a desire to be known as the most evil kid.
Had you ever told your mom you were thinking dark things?
I did, as a matter of fact. It was out 2 years before the incident. I just said, you and Dad seriously need to consider, having me institutionalized. I don't think she responded to that at first, and I said something else. And eventually I said, I have this desire to harm one of our neighbors. And the only response she had to that was, it would be really bad for you, Jake, if you were convicted of a crime. She was basically implying that I'd have a hard time in prison.
I didn't know he had said that about like, oh, and you should put me, you should put me like in a mental hospital or whatever. I think my mom truly thought that she could help Jake. Like she could do it all on her own. Like she could save Jake.
Do you think he's being honest about that since you don't have a way to ask your mom?
I think he's being honest about it. He was obviously at that time like wanting some sort of attention because he wasn't getting it. He had a fascination, an obsession, just imagined himself like, in chains or whatever. I think that's why he thinks he's evil, is because some part of him like wanted that. He wanted to look like the most evil kid in America.
Why did you do it?
Had this idea I wanted that sort of infamy, and it didn't matter who it was. I didn't believe I was capable of being known for something good, so I made a decision that I wanted to be known for something bad and evil.
It breaks my heart that he didn't think he was known for something good. It makes me so sad. It was like he just hit like a dead end, and he didn't think that he was good for anything.
There are definitely people out there who might be critical of you. Like, you had it all. I just can't understand why you would want to do something like that. It just doesn't make sense.
I always felt like I was just an alien in the midst of regular human beings. Like, just simply being called a weirdo is almost like they're saying I'm an abomination. I don't take that as well as most people do. It feeds that dark entity, just simple things like that. And I believe that's what triggers the alter ego. I've developed this mindset to where I believe it's all right to have these thoughts of wanting to harm people as long as you don't act on it. And that.
Do the thoughts bother you though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you still feel the urge to kill?
No.
Did anybody believe that?
They shouldn't believe it, but I'll say I am done with it. I don't believe I'll ever overcome that. That's just nature. But it's, I've sort of accepted that, I guess, around the age of 25, 26, that I'll never be, normal. But that doesn't mean I have to be a monster.
I think he's trying to make sense of, why did this happen? And so in his mind, he's like, okay, I'm evil. Like that's the only reason why it happened. It's like he surrendered to that darkness inside of him. But in my mind, that doesn't make him evil. In my mind, like that was an evil act, but it doesn't define who Jake is. Forgiveness is a choice. I'm solid in that choice to forgive Jake. I mean, people say all the time, I can't imagine forgiving your brother. And I always say, like, you don't know how you're going to feel until you go through something like that. My dad was saying for him to be able to get past it and to heal himself, he needed to forgive Jake. Because anger would only, hurt him. I feel like, that dark energy that Jake carried, I feel like I truly feel in my heart that it ended when he dialed 911. I do forgive my brother and I have love for my brother and I want to spend time with my brother. But me being a mother, I do have to be, cautious and like smart about it. Like just naturally, I do have those fears.
How do you feel about your family's forgiveness of you?
I'm grateful. More than likely the rest of my life I don't deserve it, but I'm grateful. I want them to know, first of all, that I'm sorry. I hope they know how much this is affecting me.
Do you wish you could take it back?
Absolutely.
Oh, I just love her.
My favorite are sushi dates because when we got close, like 2 peas in a pod.
Yes, 2 peas in a pod.
Mallory was so beautiful. From the moment she was born, she was so precious to me.
Good morning.
Looking back, I'm just so grateful that I got to have that close relationship. And that's ingrained in my heart forever. I think the hardest thing about not having my mom is when I had my babies, though. That's been the hardest part. I missed her before, but even more now. Now that I'm a mom, I totally understand, my dad's forgiveness. My dad talks about how it's a choice to forgive Jake. My boys could do, anything, and I'm still gonna, forgive them right away, no matter what, and love them. I think our forgiveness for Jake, just compassion. I think that's the biggest reason why I wanted to tell her story.
Why kill Dylan?
Because I didn't want to leave no witnesses.
I was going to carry it out all the way that I could.
And by carry it out all the way, do you mean kill them?
Kill them all.
It's difficult because, I thought I knew who my brother was. He was my protector. He was also my friend. My best friend. In my eyes, he was the best brother. Never in a million years would I have thought he would be capable of such a thing. It makes me sick to my stomach. I don't know if I should love him or if I should hate him. But it's hard to hate him. He loved those kids. He loved Stephanie. Why would he do something like this? I don't know what's the truth. I would like answers. I might get the answers, and I don't like what I hear, but I just want the truth.
All I heard was Dylan yell, and I already had the knife in my hand. I just seen a shadow take off, and Dylan was in the way, and that's when I ended up stabbing him. As soon as I stabbed him, my adrenaline went all the way up. I felt like I was being attacked, and I just couldn't stop.
This is a picture of me and my brother. I would say I was probably around 11 years old. And my brother, probably around 13. We lived out in the country. We were constantly around the animals on the farm. They had llamas and stuff out in the pasture. And one of them tried to spit at me when I walked up to him. So that was fun. That was probably the happiest I saw my brother.
Kristen, these are happy times, and you're crying.
Yeah, because I know I'm never going to be able to feel that ever again. Brandon and I, we share the same mom, but we have different dads. We were stuck like glue to each other for a lot of the time we were in foster care. We played outdoors a lot. We would play cops and robbers, and we'd build forts and stuff. He protected me. We took care of each other. If I needed something, he was there just to make me laugh. You know, he played with me and played Barbies. He's probably gonna be upset I said that, but he did. He was the best brother. It only lasted for a short time. And then the rest of the memories, you know, they're not good. It was one afternoon. It was after school. My adopted family sat me down and told me, they asked him to leave the house. You know, your brother's gotten into a lot of trouble. They found drugs in his bedroom. He started getting in trouble at school, getting into fights. He got kicked out of school.
I don't want you to go.
I was definitely surprised because it's like this is all we ever wanted was to be together, have a family, you know, that loves us. Like, why was he doing all that to ruin it for him and for me? At the house, the family who adopted me, we would always have our newspaper delivered. You know, one morning I walked outside the house to go grab it from the driveway just to read the cartoons on the Sunday paper. Before I could even get to the cartoons, I see my brother's name. He had been arrested for gang-related activities. Him and some people who he was with went to a guy's house and beat him up in his front yard, broad daylight. My brother attacking somebody, like to the point where this person's like not able to get up, like he's bloody all over. It was such a surprise to me. I've never seen my brother hurt anybody. I never saw him lay his hands on anybody. Just angry, just not knowing what was going on. I just didn't know how much and how far he was changing. He said he did not want to beat this guy up. And he said he was made to. His father forced him into a van, drove up to this guy's house. His father told him that if he wasn't going to do it, then he himself would get beat up. And he would make his father look bad.
I didn't have a choice.
I was real upset. I was livid, to be honest. Like, everything I knew about his father, everything that we both knew growing up about his father, it was like, why would you want that kind of person around? Why, like, we're supposed to want better. I was just so disappointed.
I'm sorry.
He pleaded guilty. He did it. You know, he needs to take responsibility. But I really believe that there was some influence from his father or other people. And he'd always tell me, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I'm not the brother that you wanted and needed. To me, those sorries, those apologies didn't mean, because he'd say sorry and then he'd do something, get in trouble, get locked up again.
This call is from a correctional facility and may be monitored and recorded. Do you remember actually any part of committing the crime?
I mean, I could see the whole scene playing out, the stabbing and everything. All three girls and Dylan, I remember stabbing all of them.
This is a photo of Brandon and Stephanie. You know, I know they loved each other a lot. Brandon and Stephanie met before he went to jail, and he told me he wrote to her. They had plans to, you know, get married once he got out and like have a family and all that. Brandon took her kids under, you know, under his wing. I think he just really wanted to be, you know, a father figure to those kids, seeing how happy they are. Yeah, it definitely confuses me even more as to, you know, why it happened. Brandon was, you know, trying to get back on his feet by, you know, getting a job. He's going to his meetings. He's doing his parole work. Like, he's doing good.
Let me know when you need me to come back.
I will.
One day, I, you know, got a call from Brandon, and he needed a ride downtown to meet his parole officer. I picked him up, I dropped him off, and that was that. A couple days later, Brandon calls me and he tells me, I lied to you. I didn't see my parole officer. I instead met up with my father. Of course, I was upset. For one, he lied to me. For two, he saw his father. And for three, someone had pulled a weapon out on my brother, you know. I did believe my brother, what he was telling me, because to me, that seems possible. I told him, look, you need to go and file a report. So we, you know, go to the police station, and I decide at that time to start filming.
If you want to tell me the truth that, yes, I did try and cash these checks because I was told I was going to get some cash out of it, that you all were just trying to score some cash. And that you're on camera at all these banks trying to pass these checks.
Yeah.
So the logical thing was to say that you were forced to do it so you won't catch a charge.
We were forced to do it.
So
You're just pinpointing at my brother here, and he's trying to do the right thing and report the crime to you.
To get a charge.
No. It was so confusing what happened that day. I was like, is he guilty? What?
Okay, so around, put your hand behind your back.
He's my brother. I needed to believe him. But, if my brother is anything like his father, then I guess he would be a really good liar, I guess. He learned that, I would say. So I know he's not telling us the whole truth. I take him back over to his house roughly around 9:20, 9:30 in the morning.
You'll let me know if you need anything?
I will.
I made sure he got in safely, closed the door, and I backed up and I left. Nothing seemed out of the unordinary with him. I didn't feel any kind of shift in emotions or body language from him. Everything just seemed normal. I get a call from my friend, and she said, turn on the news. It's your brother.
Okay, I'm turning it on now.
The devastating sight to drive up to.
All I see is my brother sitting on a gurney in the back of an ambulance. I don't remember any information being said. I just zoned out the audio. I just saw the picture in front of me, and I remember seeing blood on his clothing and his hands wrapped in bandages. I just panicked. I thought my brother got hurt. I didn't know maybe someone had attacked him. Me and my family were left in the dark. I drive all the way to the police station to, talk to a detective, put a statement, whatever. And I remember exiting out of the room that they had me in, and I look down the hallway and I see like 3, maybe 4 cops standing outside a door, another interrogation room. And I just think to myself, okay, that's got to be my brother.
13-year-old Dylan Moore and his mother, Stephanie Plum, were killed. 2 of her other children, 2 girls, were also attacked and seriously wounded.
Even with her throat cut and covered with blood, a 14-year-old girl was able to run next door and get help. Officers say King ran from the home, but was arrested just a few blocks away after he tried to steal a neighbor's car. According to court records, King told detectives, quote, "I'm guilty."
It doesn't make sense what happened, why he did what he did. After, going back and watching the news clip again of my brother being put on the gurney and in the ambulance, I really just looked at him and his facial expression at that time, and it was nothing. My brother lost himself when he killed Stephanie, when he killed Dylan. He lost his soul. That's one of the biggest sins of all, There's no coming back from that. You can't bring him back. Even though Brandon confessed to it, I think there is something missing. I don't know what it is. I'm just going based off of, what I feel. What I know is, he loved Stephanie. He loved those kids. He's only ever wanted to be a dad, and have a family of his own. One of my uncles, I was told it was supposed to be a burglary, but it ended up being, a murder. I never asked my brother his side. I'd like to know answers. There has to be reasoning, right? Like, what is it that drove him to the state of mind he was in to, commit such a crime, taking 2 lives. I just want the truth.
What have you talked to your sister about in regards to the night of December 31st?
We really ain't even really 100% talked about it. From my sister's point of view, I can see how she looks at that because she's seen how much I love the kids and also love Steph. And for the event and the stuff that happened on that day, it's a shock to everybody. I do love her because she is my sister. She is my family. It's hard to even be a big brother in this situation, but if I can give her feedback if she ever needs help, then I will.
Can you tell me how you came to meet Stephanie Plum?
Through my dad back in, I believe it was 2011. He just basically introduced us at a gas station and just started connecting from there, getting to know each other. She had a couple kids already. We started dating and stuff like that. We talked about maybe down the road, maybe getting married and stuff. When he woke up, we started talking about breakfast and what we're going to do for the day. I went to the back with Dylan because that's where we keep the freezers back there. There's a knife that we use to chisel the food and stuff off the ice because it freezes pretty good. So when we were in there, there's a shadow. I'm going to be honest, I still don't remember who it was. It happened so fast. And all I hear is a yell. I grabbed the knife. All I heard was Dylan yell. And when I heard Dylan yell, I'm wondering in my head why he yelled. And I already had the knife in my hand and I just seen the shadow. So I went towards the shadow and Dylan got in the way. And that's when the knife went inside Dylan. And then as soon as that did, it was like, in my head, it was like, holy crap. But at the same time, I started feeling like I was being attacked. My adrenaline just went all the way up.
Can you tell me, who are you being attacked by?
No. All I remember is seeing her move into the living room. I know she kept saying, Brandon, stop, Brandon, stop. And when she said that, it registered within my head, but at the same time, it really didn't register because I still felt like I was being attacked, and that's when I started going after her.
Where did you stab Stephanie?
Multiple places, just like it said in my discovery. I remember it said face, arms, chest, and stuff like that.
Did she know that the person that she loved the most was stabbing her and her children?
I don't remember seeing any emotion or anything. She's wondering probably in her head, why is this happening?
I mean, I feel like that's the main question. Everyone's trying to understand why.
I've asked myself that question. I'm still asking myself that question.
So a couple of days before this happened on December 31st, you had a fight.
Yeah, nice little argument that ended up making where her mom wanted me to go leave the house for that night. And I basically just slept outside and they had me come back the next day.
Let me ask you a question about the fight that you and Stephanie had. Was there something that happened that we don't know about that made you angry, that set any of this in motion?
Nothing set this in motion. But when I came back, they basically welcomed me back and we talked about everything, the situation that happened that night, and just moved on because it was Christmas coming up.
Was there an issue in the relationship? Was she gonna break up with you?
There was nothing like that. We were doing good.
Why did this whole thing need to happen?
I don't know, just felt like I was being attacked, but I wasn't physically being attacked by anybody.
So you acknowledge that nobody was actually attacking you?
Yes.
Tell me about the shadow, Brandon. Who did you see?
I honestly still don't remember. As soon as I heard Dylan yell, I just seen a shadow take off, and I seen basically the back of the person run out the side door. I was there, but I wasn't there. I was seeing black, but I was also seeing people around me. It was like everything was happening so fast.
Closure is very important to me. That is why I'm doing this. You don't know what you're going to find out. It's a scary thought. Are you ready? Yeah. Not really, but I need answers, so.
All I heard was Dylan yell, and when I heard Dylan yell, I'm wondering in my head why he yelled. And I already had the knife in my hand, and I just seen the shadow, so I went towards the shadow, and Dylan got in the way, and that's when the knife went inside Dylan. I just seen the shadow take off, and I seen basically the back of the person run out the side door. When I started feeling like I was being attacked, my adrenaline just went all the way up. I just started going through the house looking for people.
Now he stated that he saw a shadow figure run out the back door, and Dylan screamed, and he, brushed into him with a knife and hurt him, and then his adrenaline took over, and then he just started attacking Dylan because of a shadow? It doesn't make sense to me.
I know it's hard to think about, but what did you do to Dylan?
Pulled a knife on him and just started stabbing him.
Okay. Where'd you stab him at?
I don't know, everywhere. Then I heard a noise. I remember doing something to.
And then where'd you go after from?
The living room.
Okay. And who was in the living room?
Stephanie. She looked at me and told me to stop.
How'd you react to her telling you to stop?
I went after her.
Okay.
That caused this, that put this in motion, and it wasn't you.
I would basically say that, yes.
So now there's, so now he's saying that his dad was there?
Okay. And what'd you do to her?
Same thing, multiple times.
You don't bring up a shadow to the detectives. I mean, that information would seem pretty important to include.
You know, he blacked out. I don't know, you know.
Detective Sweet interviewed Brandon's father.
Mm-hmm.
There was not enough evidence to prove that he was involved in this crime.
My brother committed the crime. They caught him. You know, blood on his clothing, murder weapon with his prints on.
But I never mentioned anybody else. That wasn't in my mindset at the time being that, oh, here's a shadow here. I wanted the interview to end. You know, I physically took lives.
You're willing to sacrifice?
That I seen. But I never physically seen them like face in the house.
Are you really telling us that there was somebody that...
But that still doesn't make any sense. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You know, I wanted so badly to believe that he, you know, wasn't the only one, or that he didn't do it, or it. He pleaded guilty. He did it.
So can you tell me what happened today?
I'm facing a new case, and I'm already thinking I'm going to get hit with prior persistent, that I was going to go to prison.
What was the new charge you were facing?
Forgery.
So I did have a forgery.
Anybody would, you know, want that to become their reality. Why would you commit such a heinous crime? Because you're looking at a forgery charge that is like so small and equivalent to, you know, a murder. Like, why?
The crime that started that was going to be planned was the car and the money to make it look like there was a burglary. There's no intent on taking anybody's life.
You had told police that your intention was to kill everybody.
Yeah.
Explain that to me and why.
I charged at that time being that I was pending. My uncle was having some problems and my uncle was on the run. I told him that Steph's mom was in the hospital. There's $800 inside the dresser drawer and that there's a van here. I told the detectives that I planned on running and just going ahead with my dad and my uncle and taking the van and the money. Just felt like at that time when I was having the interview that I just lost everything. That I just gave up. I just basically said, hey, I just wanted to kill everybody. I don't know, it's just a comment that I made out of the blue.
Kind of opened my eyes to seeing exactly and how evil he really is. And I feel stupid for not seeing it, for wanting to have hope.
Because I've emotionally just lost people that I loved and cared about and not knowing what's going on with them and stuff like that.
Obviously, you know, you didn't lose them to somebody else, right? You took their lives.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wants to hear that, you know, their sibling, you know, did such a heinous crime. I don't think any.
Is your freedom just to end the interview?
No.
Well, essentially by not mentioning the key, you know, the shadow and the noise, and that's what happened.
It goes back to the fact that I did see a shadow that day. Maybe that was my dad.
A little emotional.
A little bit. I'll probably end up going back to the set, thinking about this and counting.
Why crying? Well, thank you.
He's never gonna get out of prison. He's gonna live each and every day.
I'm gonna stop.
How'd you react to her telling you to stop?
I went after her.
Okay. And what'd you do to her?
Same thing, multiple times.
What happened with?
I don't know. I think she got in the way and I just started swinging at her. I don't know.
And do you remember hitting?
The same. Figuratively, that's my brother. But looking at that person, that's not my brother. I lost my brother a long time ago.
Kind of shocking to hear that my papa killed somebody.
I was like a Jekyll and Hyde. I went into another mind frame, from breaking somebody's leg to shooting somebody, killing somebody.
How many times have you done that?
You know, I want to hear what he has to say, but I'm not ready for how it makes me see him.
I was like a Jekyll and Hyde. Once I got that call to do something, it was like I went into another mind.
Had before. It doesn't make it any easier, but it does give a sense of relief. They say the eyes are the, you know, window to the soul. His eyes are not. It makes me sick to my stomach. I've never thought I would ever hear those words come out of his mouth. When he said that, it just stopped, didn't didn't stop. Everything may not be exactly the answers I was looking for, hoping for. I at least got more insight than I.
The punishment that my brother received is definitely punishment enough.
How you feeling?
I'm good.
Remembering what he did to Stephanie and those kids. And that's punishment enough. The death penalty would have been too easy. He has to live.
It, 18 years from then, it's always been in my mind. It was like a warm, inviting place, their house was. And it's weird, but, it smelled like cigarettes and like vanilla. And like at Christmas time, they'd have a big old tree. And my papa liked to throw tinsel on it, like the old-timey trees. You never felt bad when you were there. You always knew you were loved. Everybody doted on each other. My grandpa, he just liked to spoil us on Christmas. There'd be a lot to him that I think I did something for him. I think I changed something in him when I was born. I've seen this picture a lot growing up. It was just like our first meeting, so it was special, and it was up in the house around. My mama kind of had like, I'm not sure exactly why he was in prison for this time, but it was just a part of his life that we knew about, that he was in prison. I don't think he's ever looked like a violent man, but usually you can tell by people's eyes, and you don't see that in his eyes. I see kindness in his eyes.
I know it's hard to think about, but what did you do to Dylan?
Pulled a knife on him and just started stabbing him. Then I heard a noise. I remember doing something to him.
Okay, it was in the living room.
Stephanie. She looked at me and told
Apprehending, people telling him to stop, which I've never heard that until today. In my honest opinion, he knew what he was doing. He just didn't care. That wasn't true. He was being told to stop, by Stephanie, by the girls, and he wouldn't stop. He had to have known. If he's
like, you couldn't even get close to the tree because the gifts would just be piling out. If I told him anything I wanted, it was always there. When I was younger, I heard that he worked on the oil rigs. He always worked for his money. He didn't want handouts when he was out here. He worked hard. I just always thought that's what he did. Was when he was working, it was on the rigs, because I guess we didn't really know who he really was. I didn't know of it back then, but I've learned recently that he had a parent for like picture frames. So it was like different pictures of him with me and her with me. And they didn't really do that for the other grandkids. So I was like kind of displayed around the house. My grandpa had metal rings. They'd probably cover your whole last knuckle. And they were like a skull or an eagle. He kind of had them in like one of my mama's curio cabinets with her angel. This is a picture of maybe one of the first times my papa met me after I was born. That was first grandchild, first granddaughter. So I think he kind of put me on a pedestal. Grandpas and granddaughters have a special relationship. I think it means her angel figurines. I would put them on my hands at the time and just think they were cool. He didn't wear them on a daily basis. They were for occasions. I wouldn't say special occasions, but they were for a reason. I remember when I was at my grandparents' house for the weekend, and he was saying he had to leave, he had to go. And he made me feel special. Like I was different than, just a kid. And he cared about us, and he showered us with affection. He was a good grandpa. I was really close with him growing up, and I've always wondered about what he really does that we don't know about.
26-year-old Dustin Moreland of Denison was shot to death by Wesley Buster Clark in Harrison County last May. The judge sentenced Clark to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years.
I would have never thought about that a day in my life that he would have done that to somebody. Kind of shocking. He slicked his hair all back. It was like he gelled it back. Usually he didn't do his hair. I thought that was weird that he did his hair. He rolled up his sleeves and he put on his big rings. He looked intimidating to me. He left out of the garage and I didn't see him for the rest of the night. I remember to hear that my papa killed somebody and just left him like that. And he just threw everything away, threw his grandkids' lives away, threw his life away. I'm really the only grandkid who talks to him anymore. I'm out of 8 of us. I had kind of side jobs that weren't probably as legal as working on the rigs was.
How much do you understand about his involvement in this motorcycle club?
I don't know a lot about it. Like I said before, I didn't realize that that was a real thing. I don't know what he would have had to do, and they weren't just getting together to ride motorcycles and go to bars and stuff. I remember when my papa left, I was there for the weekend. I was sitting on the couch watching TV. I think I was the only kid there that day.
Frame. Whatever they needed done dirty, from breaking somebody's leg to shooting somebody or killing somebody, I certain things I wouldn't do for no less than 30.
What's worth $30,000? What kind of job?
Somebody's life.
How many times have you done that?
I know my brother did it. He's guilty. It was easier for me to believe the version that involved my brother and his father than the other version. That it was just my brother.
Thank you, Brandon.
You're welcome.
And my mama were arguing in the bedroom, in which they never argued, they never fought.
This is just disrespectful. I don't have to stand here taking this crap.
And he said, F it, I'm leaving. And he stormed out of the house. He just left, got in his truck and left. I didn't expect to see that happen. And my mama was upset, really upset. I heard her crying. I go into the room and I sit with her, and I could see through my grandmother's pain that it was serious. Her husband of however many years just
live with this. And it's really hard to say, but that's justice for that family. That's what they need, is justice.
Walked out on her, quite devastated. It was hard for me to see my mama like that. I think I tried to hug her. That's all I really could do. Only being 12 or 13, I don't know how to really handle a situation like that. After I found out about his girlfriend, we kind of just were all like, no, thanks. How do you just leave a woman you've been with for 40 years just like that for somebody else? We didn't want really any part of that. I knew my mama didn't deserve that. She always took care of him, was there for him. It took down my perception of him at that time. He was treating my mama bad. He hurt everybody's relationship with him when he did that. All the grandkids, his kids, his wife. He was really only thinking about himself then. That was probably like the first incident where I saw that he could do crappy things and let us see it, and he wasn't hiding it.
This is a prepaid debit call from
Buster. I was one of them guys, if you need something done, you don't want to get your hands dirty, go see Buster. I started running around with the wrong people, real bad people, man.
Yeah.
And they would shoot you, just look at you. And then I started getting that rep too, man. Yeah, that's Buster. And I had a deal at a bar one night. I cut a guy's arm off with a machete.
This was one of our Easter gatherings. Maybe we were inside coloring Easter eggs because we did it all the time at their house. But yeah, that was typical of my grandparents' house. The adults hanging out, the kids hanging out. There's always motorcycles around. Everybody just really doing their own thing, but also being around each other at the same time. I don't know why he threw it all away. There was a lot more closeness in our family in those days. And just the family gatherings aren't as everybody getting together and enjoying each other's time. I don't know, they don't feel the same anymore than they used to. One day he decided to show up when my parents were gone. And we were told if he comes, we weren't allowed to go outside. We weren't allowed to talk to him. Me and my brother, we just pretended we weren't home.
Where are you guys?
And he would go knock on all the doors and look in the windows and like holler that he knows we're there. It was stressful. And it was kind of scary. You didn't really know what was happening or what was going to happen. We'd see him in the driveway, his bandana on, his sunglasses, and he was just leaning up against his bike, just waiting for one of us to come outside, but we weren't allowed. I was watching the news at my grandmother's house, and they were like saying that this man was wanted for killing Dustin.
Breaking news, Thompson News 9 at 6. A murder investigation is underway right now, and police are hunting for the accused killer.
As they have already identified a suspect as Wesley Clark, who is 52 and also goes by Buster.
They'd put a picture up. They put his full name up on the TV, and they were like giving like, sightings to where he could have been. This poster was put up because he was wanted for the murder of Dustin Moreland. And he was on the run at this time. These have been posted up in, grocery stores and gas stations around town. They made it seem like, he was dangerous. You couldn't approach him, he would hurt you, I guess, but it seemed like a different narrative than I knew of him. I think everybody was stressed. They didn't really know what he was doing or where he was or what the circumstances were for everybody else in the family too. So I think everybody had extra stress during that time. I've never, had to see that side of him. And he does look different in this picture. Like, you can tell in his eyes that there's something going on with him. Something serious. This looks like the headline from when they announced that he had been captured. It's my grandpa in handcuffs with 3 officers around him. Clark captured, wanted man in custody after manhunt in Carroll County. I guess he was behind an empty house. He was trying to alter his appearance, so he dyed it all black. He just looked crazy. He didn't look like my pappy. I was glad when he got caught. It was just unnecessary for him to be on the run if he knew he did wrong. And I do agree that he has to serve his time for what he did. He has to have his punishment. I just never would have thought that, he was a criminal. I've never seen that side to him to believe that he's a dangerous man. Like, he never seemed a danger to me ever in my life.
Is it possible he was leading a double life?
I don't doubt it at all.
This call is from a DRC correctional facility and is subject to monitoring and recording.
I hugged that tree, man. He goes, what? I said, hug the tree. And I hugged him so good. And he didn't say nothing. And I put the gun in his bottom part of his skull, and where his neck is. I pulled it up and shot him.
Wesley Clark at one point declined an attorney and represented himself. Tuesday, he yet again did something nobody saw coming. Pled guilty.
I ended Dustin Moreland's life.
I'm really the only grandkid who talks to him anymore, and he just doesn't speak to really anybody. He doesn't have any of his siblings anymore. He doesn't have his parents. He's old, and he's just in there for the rest of his life, however long it may be. I'd want to know the real reason why he murdered Dustin and why he thought that was the route he had to take. It'd be nice to know who he really was as a person during the time that he was my grandpa and what he was really doing the whole time. I thought he was a good person. And I'm nervous to know, really who he was his whole life and my whole life. But I feel like it would make me understand him more.
I'm doing 30 to life for killing Dustin. It don't bother me to do something like I did. I mean, it really didn't.
Are you a dangerous person?
Yes, I could be a very dangerous person.
Katie wants to know the real truth about who you are, and I feel like maybe she has not heard a lot of these stories. She doesn't really know who you are.
Who I am.
Are you that loving grandpa that she remembers, or were you just hiding who you really are?
I'll always be that loving grandpa. Always. But there's another side of me, you know? One night I took off work, man, and I go to the bar, and he's in there with two of his buddies. And right away they start running their mouth, man. Talking about, you just left work, didn't punch out or nothing, did you? I said, man, don't worry about what I did. And then I hear Carlos, hey, I'm gonna beat your ass, Buster, you run your mouth, dude. I said, man, dude, get out of here, man. And he puts his fist up. Like I thought he could fight, you know, because the way he did, you know, it looked like he knew what he was doing. He didn't know what he was doing. He hit me, man. I looked at him. I said, dude, man, is that all you got? And his words were, yeah. I said, boy, you're in trouble. You are in trouble. Well, he pulled out he had a knife, man. He pulled that knife out. I said, oh, you one of them, huh? I grabbed his arm. He didn't do nothing with the knife. I grabbed his arm, and I smacked him. He fell down. I get over him. I hit him about 3 or 4 more times. He was snoring, so I know he was knocked out. So I walked away. But yeah, he died the next morning.
Did you ever think about that man again, or his family, or have any remorse?
You know, yeah, I did, because he had 2 little girls, you know, and I seen them, you know, when we were loading up to leave to go out of state. I seen his little girls with their mom, and I felt bad about that one. I really did. That's probably one of the only ones I really felt bad about. I just happened to hook up with a couple of guys I knew from years ago, and started partying with them, going to their clubhouses and drinking. And it's a motorcycle club I was involved with. So whatever they needed done dirty, from breaking somebody's leg to shooting somebody or killing somebody, I was the one they called. Oh, the money was real good. Certain things I wouldn't do for no less than 30. You know.
30,000?
Yeah.
What's worth 30,000? What kind of job?
Somebody's life.
How many times have you done that?
Come on now. These guys, this club, this motorcycle club, a couple of them come to me because, you know, what I've been doing for them. Said, hey, we need you to go break this guy's legs when them both broke. So I decided, no, I'm not going to do it. I don't need to draw more heat. I said, I'm not going to do that, man. I said, I got to stay out of trouble, man. About a week or 2 later, this dude, supposed to have been one of my best friends, come to me and telling me, hey, if I get something in my head to do it, I do it. And don't think about, well, if this happens, this is going to happen. I've never done that.
When I've spoken to Katie, and she has a memory of you wearing these rings, what you would be doing, going out with those rings on and dressed the way you...
if I hit you, it was over. It was over. I mean, I'm talking, I take care of this, Buster, because you know too much about art. That you're going to go down, man. Said, and you need to watch your family. I said, what'd you say? He said, you need to watch your family. I went in the house, I got my shotgun, I was going to blow them off their bikes. You know, but they took off. This girl I was with, that other girl, she said, Man, she goes, I'm worried, Buster. I'm real worried, man. You know, what about my daughters, you know, because she had a couple kids. I said, man, don't worry about it. I'm going to take care of it, man.
What did you think the outcome would be?
You know, I didn't think it would be this. I really didn't. I felt my family was in danger. And I did an action to try and protect them. But the courts wouldn't let me do that. You don't think of the consequences. That's my problem. You know, I got a big problem with that. It's obvious. I mean, all my life I've been like that. Just looking for the perfect spot. I said, I got pissed. I get out. And when I get out, I grab my pistol. It's in the door. And he gets out. I point the gun at him. And I said, you see what I got in my hand? About a week or two later, this dude come to me and telling me, hey, you don't take care of this, Buster, because you know too much about art. That you're going to go down, man. Said, hey, you need to watch your family. I said, don't worry about it. I'm going to take care of it, man. I said, ain't nobody needs to worry about their family, you know. And so I told him, I said, okay, I'll do it.
I didn't think that the gang was real. I didn't think that, you know, that they did.
How many times have you been in and out of jail and prison throughout your life?
Oh, my. Well, I started doing time as a juvenile, probably 13. You know, little dumb stuff, running away from home, stealing cars. You know, I started doing drugs at a young age. And it seems like every time I would get messed up, I was fighting. Every time, you know, and that's just the way I was. I grew up around a lot of violence. I've always been like that. Dude, he says, yeah. I said, you know what I'm supposed to do with you? He goes, yeah, Buster, but everybody knows I'm with you. And I told him, I said, you think I give a... I walked him out through the woods, and I told him, I said, hug that tree, dude. He said, huh? I said, hug that tree. And when he did, I got behind him and shot him in the back of the head. Oh, they had the sheriff, they had the state patrol. I mean, they had everybody out looking for me. And I was only on the run for about maybe a week. I had a set right here I wore. It said Buster. They weighed a quarter pound apiece. That's a lot of to have on your hand. And then I had one over here, a skull with spikes sticking out. And I forget what this I had here. And yeah, if I was going out just to beat somebody up good, that's what I wore.
So she remembers.
She remembers that.
Yeah, she said she was about 5 years old and you used to let her play with the rings and she put her fingers in them.
I remember.
But she never really knew what was happening.
No, I'm glad she did, you know. I was at a bar, and this one dude, I knew him. You know, we've never seen eye to eye. And every time he was around me, I always wanted to talk bad, and, you know, and this and that. He said something, I forget what it was he said to me that night. And I said, man, I'll just cut your head off, dude. And he said, yeah, you ain't gonna cut off. I said, all right. And I sat there and he kept running. I said, man, let's go outside. I went outside and opened my truck, grabbed that machete, and just as I turned around, he was going to swing, and I swung that machete, and I cut his arm off, dead off. And he didn't have nothing to say after that.
What's it feel like to chop a guy's arm off?
I didn't feel no different than beating him up. I told him I'd cut his head off. He's lucky I didn't get his head.
I was feeling anxious today. I don't really know what he's going to say or what I'm going to learn today. I want to hear what he has to say and the truth that he holds within himself.
These guys, this club, this motorcycle club, a couple of them come to me, want me to take Dustin out. So I decided, no, I'm not going to do it, dude. I went outside and opened my truck, grabbed that machete, and just as I turned around, he was going to swing, and I swung that machete, and I cut his arm off, dead off. I told him I'd cut his head off. He's lucky I didn't get his head.
Wow.
Thoughts?
I mean, it's shocking to hear. It gave me an insight to, you know, a person that he can be, but I feel like he was doing maybe more things too. It would be nice to finally find out the truth.
All right, go ahead and push the space bar.
I was at a bar. This one dude, he said something. And I said, man, I'll just cut your head off.
Things like that, I guess. I mean, it seemed like he made a business out of it. Being a hitman or something. I mean, he didn't want to do it. So maybe he was trying to get away from all that, but he felt like he didn't have a choice this time.
When I've spoken to Katie on the phone, she has a memory of you wearing these rings.
Oh, if I hit you, it was over. It was over. And then I had one over here, a skull.
More than anything, I'm just shocked that that's what he was doing in his free time, I guess. I mean, I don't know why that stuff doesn't affect him. Like, if he could have did it and then was around all us kids the next day, being our papaw. I don't know.
Are you surprised your family, especially your wife and Katie, an apology?
I am sorry, you know, that I couldn't be there. My whole family. You know, I was...
He's capable of doing something like that?
Yeah. I would have never guessed it. Any of this so far.
One night I took off work, man, and I go to the bar. Well, now they want me to take him out. They don't want me to break his legs, they want me to take him out. You know, and I told them straight out, I said, you know what the money is, you know what it costs, you know? And they said, yeah, we know. I met him at the bar when I was at the bar one night, and he was in there. And I said, man, you want to go get high, dude? He goes, yeah, let's go get high. I drove around for a while, man. He's in there with two of his buddies. And right away, they start running their mouth, man. I grabbed his arm. So he didn't even do nothing with a knife. I grabbed his arm, and I smacked him. He fell down. And family, man, I really was. Like I said, I got sidetracked there after I left my wife, you know. And I loved Katie, and you know, all of them. I was like a Jekyll and Hyde, I guess you could say. You know, I'm really, you know, once I got that call to do something, it was like I went into another mind frame, you know. You know, ain't nobody want to remember me for killing people and, you know, cutting people's arms off, or, you know, shooting this guy, that guy. Ain't nobody want to remember somebody like me. Only thing, if I could change anything right now, it would be the way my family feels. You know, that's one thing I would change right now. But that don't look like that's going to happen.
I know he sits and dwells on everything, and I know it does affect him, but he also made those choices himself. He's a criminal. He's a, you know, murderer. Yeah, I think that was just his reality, I guess. I'm glad we didn't, you know, see that growing up, though. It would have made things a lot different.
With spikes sticking out, I forget what this I had here. Yeah, if I was going out just to beat somebody up good, that's what I wore.
What's going on in your mind?
I don't know, it just makes me sad to hear him talk about stuff. He just had, I mean, we didn't really hide what he did. We just didn't really know exactly what he was doing. We thought he just had cool stuff, I guess.
How do you feel about what you've learned?
I mean, it shed a light on a lot of things.
My family would do that because I took care of my family, my whole family. Katie, she's been the only one coming and seeing me.
Why is it so hard for you to talk about Katie?
Because I care for her. You know, like I said, she's been right there for me, man. You know, as soon as she had her baby, she was here. You know, like she said, you know, she'll do what she can to make sure, you know, he's in my life, you know. And I believe her, you know. And she's the only one I got tattooed on me. I did that when she was born, you know. Yeah, she used to break my heart, man. Every time she'd see me, she'd come running up to me and tell me how she loved me.
What's going on in your mind?
It's still hard to see him in prison, like, especially now, how he is the way he is with oxygen and stuff. It's just hard to see him deteriorate, I guess. And I miss being around him and be able to talk to him.
Do you owe?
I get over it in my head about 3 or 4 more times. But yeah, he died the next morning.
Did you ever think about that man again or his family or have any remorse?
You know, yeah, I did because he had 2 little girls. That's probably one of the only ones I really felt bad about. You know.
It sounded like he had some anger issues or something. He didn't know how to take the high road. I don't think he would have had any remorse if he didn't see his kids, so he saw the consequences of that one, I think. I wouldn't even ever had a thought in my brain about it. There was a different side to him than we all knew.
How would you describe your relationship with your family today?
Not good. You know, and that bothers me bad. I never thought.
I do feel that he is sorry, and I do feel his remorse. I don't think anything will ever make me not love him.
I had kind of like a feeling we were going to get that kind of call, or the call that he had passed away. And I was kind of a wreck for a little bit. He was glad to just be able to tell the truth to me, I guess.
I can feel that he's sorry. I mean, he's a man of few words, so, you know, he can't spill his heart out on the table. I don't think he's ever spilled his heart out on the table for anybody, but
I feel better knowing that he's not suffering anymore. He's finally free. I feel better, you know.
Did you feel like he kind of waited for this